Hi guys, welcome to this video tutorial. In this video, you're going to learn Lambda function with map and filter functions. You'll also learn the difference between Lambda function and the normal function in Python. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Write comments below. Let's go on. Basically, you can write your own function using the def keyword, function headers, docstrings, and function bodies. However, there is a quicker way to write functions on the fly. These are called Lambda functions because you use the keyword Lambda. So you can use Lambda expressions to create anonymous functions in Python. That is, functions that do not have a name. They are very helpful for creating quick functions that aren't needed later in your code. This can be especially useful for higher order functions or functions that take in other functions as arguments. Let's define a function that rise to power that can be able to calculate the power of the number. So this function takes two arguments x and y and returns x power to y as a result. So you can call this function and pass arguments through this function. But you can convert this rise to power function into Lambda function to quickly perform this expression. A Lambda function is a small anonymous function, which means that it is a function without a name. A Lambda function can take any number of arguments, but can only have one expression, and it must have a return value as a result. Here is a syntax of Lambda expression. There is a keyword Lambda followed by arguments and followed by colon. It is similar to the normal function, and there must have an expression that can be evaluated and returned the value. Some function definitions are simple enough that they can be converted to a Lambda function. By doing this, you write fewer lines of code, which is pretty awesome and will come in handy, especially when you are writing and maintaining big programs. Let's convert rise to power function to Lambda function. You just use the keyword Lambda and then followed by arguments. You can separate the arguments because the rise to power function has two arguments in the previous, and you can list out the list of arguments separated by comma, and then you put colon, look like the normal function, that is a block of code, and this colon separated the Lambda and the arguments, arbitrary arguments with the expression. So there is expression that arbitrarily evaluated and return the result to the function, Lambda function. So then you can store the result to the variable raised to power, and you call this as a function and pass arguments through this function. Then you just evaluate the result. So this Lambda function has some components, the Lambda keyword that indicates this is Lambda expression, and followed by one or more arguments and separated by comma, then followed by the colon that is basically similar to functions. The way the arguments are named in the Lambda expression is arbitrary. And lastly, there is an expression that is evaluated and returned in this function. So this is just like a return statement in the normal function, but this in the Lambda function, there must be a return values and one expression. So this is a lot like an expression you might see a return statements in the rise to power function in the normal function. With this structure, Lambda expressions aren't ideal for complex functions, but can only be very useful for short and simple functions. As I mentioned above, the Lambda expression or function allow you to write functions in a quick and dirty way. So I wouldn't advise you to use them all the time, but there are situations when they come in handy, like the example below. For example, you can use map function with Lambda function. That is very important because we can use Lambda as an argument to another function. So we are going to use Lambda function as an argument to the map function. That is the most important thing. So map function is a higher order built-in function that takes a function that is Lambda function and iterable as inputs such as list or tuple or etc. And that returns an iterator, which is called map object, that applies the function to each element of the iterable object passed as input to the map function. And the map function takes two arguments, which is the function and the iterable object, either list or tuple or any other iterable object. So we can rewrite the following code using the map function to find the mean of each list in numbers to create the list average. Here I have list of, or this is arrays, multidimensional array or matrix. So I'm going to find each of the averages of each of the numbers. So this normal function going to calculate the mean of the list, and this function is passed through the map function as a function, and the objects, iterable objects, which is numbers. But we can do this with one line code using map and lambda function. So I just convert the function into lambda, and then I can do this. So just returns the map object. The map object is iterable object, and we are going to convert this iterable object into lists or any other iterable sequences. So this basically do just iterates through each of the elements, but each of the elements in the numbers list has a list of numbers and going to find the averages of each of the lists in the list. Okay, so this can just perform these averages using simple one line and quicker method. So I can convert this to list to get the average of the list of numbers, because this just converts. So the average of the first list in the numbers list is 57, the second is 58.2, and so on. So this is one of a way how you can use the map function in lambda expression together. This is another example that finds the squares of the list of numbers. So the squares of list of numbers. Okay, now I just convert this to list to get the numbers. Yeah, 4 square, 2 square is 4, 3 square is 9, 4 square is 16, and so on. So this is another way. So the other is if-else statements and lambda function. Since a lambda function must have a return value for every valid input, so we cannot define it with if, but without else, as we are not specifying what will we return if the if condition will be false. So that is its else part. Let's understand this with the following lambda function to square a number. For example, this lambda function square a number if that number is greater than 0. So let's see what will be, occur. So this is an error because when you are using if statements in the lambda, there must be else parts of that expression, and unless and otherwise it just throws an error, because this expected else parts after if expression. If this is false, it must return that else part in the lambda expression. Okay, so we rewrite the above code with if else statements look like this. So if x is equal to 0, that's return 0. Otherwise, it just gets a square of that number. Okay. For example, if I input 5, 5 power of 5 is this number. Okay. So this is what how to use if-else statement in the lambda expression. Let's find the maximum number from the given two numbers. For example, let's define a function max number. There are two numbers, given numbers, A and B, and if A greater than B is, so it returns A, else returns B. Okay, that's it. This, for example, let me pass 3 and 4 as A and B, and let's run this code. That's 4. 4 is greater than, so A is greater than, this is false, so it returns B. B is false, okay? When I change this, for example, 5, 5 is greater than 4, it returns 5. So this is what called just find the maximum number from the given two numbers using lambda and if-else statements. I hope you understand how to use if-else statements in the lambda expressions. Well, the other most important tip is that filter function. Filter is also another higher order built-in function that takes a function that is a lambda function and iterable as inputs such as list, tuple, etc. And that returns an iterator with the elements from the iterable object for which the function returns true. In this case, we just rewrite the below code using filter to get the names in the cities that are fewer than 10 characters long to create the list. So here, for example, is short, then that's then the length of the name is greater than, or I mean less than 10, it returns that. Otherwise, false. For example, let's convert this to cities. I mean filter, not map. And the lambda, which is the name of the city, and length name less than 10. And we pass the cities as the iterable object. And let's print short cities. Yeah, so the list of short cities from the given list of cities are Chicago, Denver, Boston, because here there is a condition. So based on this true value, it just filters the items from the list. In this case, the length of the name of the city is less than 10 characters. It just filter as a result. So based on this condition, it just filters the name of the cities or the items from the given iterable objects. Okay, this is one of the way how we can apply filter and lambda function, and how we can use if-else statement, the lambda expression, how we can use map function in the lambda function, and so on. How we can convert normal function into lambda function, which is anonymous function, because it is a quicker way to solve problems, especially simple and small functions. I hope you enjoyed in this video tutorial. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Write comments below. Thanks for watching today.